Welcome back, everybody, to Bigger and Louder. It's Johnny D.
And Big Tony, what's up, fuckface?
Kachinga, kachinga, kachinga. Man, it's been some time. It's been about a week since you've heard from us.
Yep.
But in reality, it's been like 2 weeks. So a little behind the scenes. So we have like a ton of stuff to fill you in on, from trips to food to diarrhea. To
Diarrhea?
my
What?
sweating.
Where were you? What? I don't know whether
Well,
I should laugh or cry.
you go to Guatemala and you have a great time, but somebody's bound to get diarrhea on a trip. So that's really what happened.
Did you drink the water? Did you break the cardinal rule and drink the water?
We're not really sure what happened. I was actually the only one that ended up not getting sick out of like 13 or 14 of us.
Yeah.
Because I learned my lesson a couple years ago when we went to Tulum. And I don't know if I've ever even told you this story. We go for one of our friends' wedding, beautiful destination wedding. And, we were able to take both of the kids, my in-laws, my parents went, we spent time in Cancun, all around over there. And the night before the wedding, we all decided to go out and get like street tacos at the end of the night. And I was the brave one, apparently, to order the pastor, the al pastor, which is pork. Okay. And this place was like, literally, when we showed up, bro, it was like, all right, no, we're closing. And we were like, oh, come on. And they're like, all right. So they made us like a couple more tacos. And I can just tell you now, I literally missed my flight home because I couldn't get out of bed. I was throwing up, heaving, pooping I had lost I think 12 or 13 pounds. I ended up having what do you get from pork? Like trichomoniasis or something like that. I forget
man, I don't know. It's actually weird. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead, man. That was crazy. I was shitting my brains out then, and I dodged the bullet now.
No, it's just weird because you got that from eating pork, and usually it's like, well, let me ask you this question: was the pork hot, or did you get it cold or lukewarm?
It was hot, but I can tell you what happened is it was sitting out in probably room temperature all day for them to throw on the grill, right? They were making it. Then they chop it, then they throw it in that prep bucket, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm with
you. And then they throw it on the grill again, and they put it in your taco. So I can just tell my just there all day, and I got the last serving, and they should have just been like, nah, bro. But it's our fault. Me and the white boy that I am, I was like, no, please make me a taco. So,
oh man,
yeah, half the family got sick on this trip too, man. But it was awesome. We had a great time.
Sounds like something that would happen at Disney World. If you go to Disney World, you get sick when you eat those gigantic ham legs they have at Disney World. That's
the turkey leg, the smoked turkey legs.
Yeah,
Dude.
A lot of people are just sitting out and people getting sick. But it's funny when you mention that. Well, I shouldn't say it's funny, but so I've been around the world to places where I've had to go and get vaccinations because there's just certain places that just are not there's just certain diseases and bacteria that we're just not accustomed to here in North America. So,
right.
And I've had even doctors who are, special disease doctors that literally that's what they do for a living. They make good money, just basically advising patients and giving them travel vaccines to go places. And the one thing the guy said to me, which I always stood out to me, he's like, whenever you're going to places that are either, third world or places that just you might raise an eyebrow to, he's like, make sure you always eat hot food because you decrease the risk of actually acquiring bacteria or anything that could actually
I just learned, and I mean, I don't know how maybe this is the reason that my stomach is out of control. I just learned about this whole don't eat rice and pasta that was left out on the counter because of all the bacteria. Apparently starches, so I guess it could happen with potatoes too, but rice and pasta, if you leave them out cooked on the counter at room temperature for too long, you should not refrigerate them anymore. You should toss them out. And apparently, even when you do cover it and throw it in the fridge, you shouldn't save either of those for more than a day. Which I swear to God, I've had Chinese food that was a week old, right? Fried rice that was almost a week. But now they're saying don't eat that shit. So I'm like, all right.
So here's a conundrum for you. So just to your point, if you've eaten food here in the States where you've left it out, or rather in Guatemala where you've eaten food where it's out for a day, and in the States you've eaten food that was left over for a week, but that even just to throw this out there for consideration, does that kind of scare you about all the additives they're adding into these foods to make sure they are kind of keeping for a longer periods of time versus I mean this is we're not gonna go, it's a big rabbit hole, but that can get people thinking about that if you're taking food, obviously livestock is livestock, no matter where these cows get, cooked up and sent out to the country, etc. But to your point, like if you eat something, as you said, like, street tacos or places that have been out for, let's just call it 5 hours. I don't know how long it was, but let's say you had it out for 5 hours and then, you get sick because it was out maybe for a day or it didn't keep as long. But here in the States, we have food that we can get from, takeout, wherever, and that's keeping longer and you're not getting sick. That might even just raise a fucking question in terms of all the additional additives
they're putting in our fucking food
to keep it. And what
you're so right, man.
body.
You're so right. So like, we've been lucky enough, like the last couple years, to do some international trips. So this was my first non-Mexico trip into Central America. Like I've been to Mexico now like a dozen times, right? Like whether it's Tijuana, Rosarito, Puerto Nuevo, like things like that,
Cancun,
right? Cancun, Tulum. Now, which is Cancun is basically Tulum, right? But this was my first time going to another country. So when we got there, like the first thing that came to mind for me was like, I want to eat the fruit and I want to eat the meat, because exactly what you said, dude, these fields are not overly pesticided, overly fucking crop dusted or whatever you want to call it. No, they don't go out there and like, do all this bullshit with it. Like this is like naturally grown. I don't even know what organic means anymore, but like to me, like it's like the organic. Now, this is where I know I also feel it's just better quality. There's two places. There's a Pollo Campero. Okay. Pollo Campero is like Kentucky Fried Chicken, but with 5 fucking stars, Anthony. If like they don't have this back east at all. So I know they have it in LA, SoCal. Maybe they have it like, Southwest. But if you haven't had this chicken, I swear to God, we'll have one of our family members fly it the fuck in for you next time they come. Because we literally like this, like, because it's a short flight. It's actually shorter to get to Guatemala City than it is to go to New York. It's only like 4.5 hours on the plane. So you can stop at the Pollo Campero on the way to the airport, get a family meal, pack it in. Like they literally have bags to do this because so many people do it. And then boom, you get it on a plane. We come home, heat it up a little bit, and it is 10 times better than any meal like that. Like, we would call that fast food. Any fast food is not comparable. It's like sit down quality chicken, in Guatemala. And then the second thing were the cows. Like the cows, the chickens are running around crossing the road. That's the other thing. When you're going like outside of Guatemala City, in even parts in.
Why the chicken cross the road? Why the chicken cross the road, John?
Well, apparently he was running from the guy with the machete. because
he wanted to get the other side.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, these chickens were running loose. So that's how they're eating like bugs and shit like that. Like and the things they should be. And the cows, Anthony, these fucking cows, they were calling them our tia, she was calling them flaca, like skinny, because you could see the bones in the cows, but they're going off to the butcher because they don't like feed them corn and like all this bullshit. They're out there just grazing, like, and good steer and good cows in America do the same, right? They don't want them cooped up all day or eating like a corn-based diet to plumping them up. Like, they don't want, it's lean beef. And our last night there, and like I could go on and on about this, and like we'll talk about this Guatemala trip in pieces because it was fucking excellent. And I got a lot to say about it.
In one sitting.
Yeah, exactly. So like, but what I'll end is there with this, like, these cows, like, so our last night there, we go to this place called Montana's in Guatemala City, Zona 10, right? We picked Julian my son picked it of all people. We go into this place and it's a steakhouse and they've got like prime cuts, Andy, prime cuts of meat, but like half of them are American. And I'm like, I didn't come all the way here for American beef. Like, please give me like local farm raised beef. And they were like,
give me some Wagyu beef
absolutely,
from Australia or New Zealand.
Well, they had Australian, they had Argentinian, and they had American, and obviously Guatemalan. So, I went with the Guatemalan and it was delicious. And like Jody, the same, and hers came on the salt block. Oh my God, it was like butter, dude. Melting. It's not comparable. The food in other parts of the world is not comparable, back to your point. And then like, I'd like to hear your opinion on this too. Like I've been to Europe and in Italy. My kids, of course, we're going to go visit a fucking McDonald's in every country. So I took them to the McDonald's. We're like, you know what? Let's do one trip to the McDonald's here and like we'll all get something. And Anthony, when I got a chicken sandwich and like it was like biting into like a whole chicken breast, nothing like it was. It was not some, pink slime homogenized chicken fucking livers and feet and bones. It was like a real chicken breast. So even that food, and they like the list goes on and on. When the European Union about the things that they've banned that they just allow in ours. So I don't know. Yeah,
I mean,
we're all
listen,
getting cancer at some point.
yeah, I mean, like the carcinogens that are in these foods nowadays, and yeah, I mean, like if you look at when you like that can of drink that you just drank, like if you actually look in that side of that can, you look at every single like toxin or additive that's in that drink.
Well, I mean, this isn't one of the many brands of sparkling water that I shall not name. It's actually one of my least favorite, but to give it away, it's pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse. It looked like a prime drink, man.
No. So like, okay, so here's the other thing. And I used to drink this stuff a lot, like Rockstar. Remember like Rockstar, Red Bull, all those energy drinks?
Red Bull, Monster, but
Rockstar, Monster is like Rockstar. I think might have gone out of business for all I know. But my favorite was the blue can that was like grape Rockstar or whatever. And in college, I had read, or somebody had told me, and I ended up reading this article that said that they had studied that they gave rats like only these drinks to drink, and their fucking urine started glowing in the dark.
Oh my God.
So like I don't like I'm pushing 40 now. Like I try not to drink that unless it's like, all right, we gotta go out. We gotta make a big thing to do.
Listen, yeah, like,
otherwise, man, it was a
you know the bitch of it is though, man. Like, I mean, and again, I don't work for PETA and I don't work for the WWF and all these, humane societies, but it's actually proven that I know we're considered like carnivores as human beings, but we don't need to survive off of animals that we've been doing for the last several centuries. Like we can live off of plants just as happy. I think there's actually not a study, but there was actually, I think I saw an example where they actually tested athletes' blood in terms of like the protein based plants versus protein you get in an actual like a piece of red meat that you would stick on a grill. And they did the test twice between two athletes, and they found that in a plant based protein meal, there's more nutritional value for what athletes actually need, and we need it in our human bodies than actually what it contains in cutting up a cow. That's a fact. So like if you actually look at, I mean, and you think about like how animals are just bred for slaughter. I mean, again, like I'm just saying this because I was actually at a carnival a couple months ago. I was actually I shouldn't say a couple months ago. It was actually last fall, and they had a cow exhibit, and you could see it was a petting zoo, and there was like two sets of cows, and like one cows, they looked a little anorexic, it just looked like they were just kind of sitting there just for shits and giggles. There was other cow right to the right of that looked like it was on fucking steroids. It was fucking huge. And I said to the owner, I said, listen, what the fuck? She said, oh, this cow has hormones in it. We're feeding this cow hormones because we're gonna send this cow to the slaughterhouse. And it was just like, oh man,
big like, fucking prime rib right there.
Big prime rib, brisket,
T-bone, yeah,
all that shit. It's just like
it's
what
wrong,
they're feeding
man.
these animals.
I love meat, but it's wrong. And this, like I come from a family of butchers. Like my grandfather, I'm named after him. Grandpa John, he owned butcher shops in Brooklyn when up until he passed away. And my dad grew up working in them too. And we eat meat, and my dad's eating meat like that, and he said that every day. I'm gonna forget the cut, but like he would have like a ribeye. My grandfather would have like a ribeye for lunch every day, right? And and that's like
you can't do that
the way that we were raised, right? So it's like my dad now, he doesn't do that. He has like red meat like once a month, right, or whatever, because of his heart issues. But like me, like I'm even watching it. Like I still eat red meat, and like I'm a fat fuck right now. But it's like I gotta watch it. Like I don't try to eat a lot of red meat. Like and now even more so, I don't buy ground. I think I was telling you this. I don't buy ground meat anymore. I will buy like a whole chuck roast or whole like pork shoulder, or like some type of like or chicken like boneless still, like thighs and breasts, and I throw them in my own meat grinder. Because now that I know how simple it is and like the recipe to make like chicken nuggets, and this is actually one that I'm going to drop for everybody. I'm going to do a special, like I'm going to call it loud and local. I'm going to film Anthony. Yeah, and like this is good for you too. Like you do your loud and local piece where I'm gonna film making these chicken nuggets from scratch, and I don't think anybody else is gonna ever buy that fucking Tyson frozen shit for their kids again, man. Because like they're good for adults. And here's another thing: I feel like I could fake the world by making just like my chicken cutlets out of ground chicken breast and or even like 50-50 like thighs and breasts or something, because the way that this comes, you could form it into like a fucking unicorn if you wanted to. Like it's like pliable and shit. Like you don't have a meat grinder, you have the slicer, but you don't have the
I got a slicer, but no, that is actually one thing I want to do for like our anniversary. If not our anniversary, definitely a birthday present. If not a birthday present, definitely a Christmas present this year. And you know what it is, man? Like to the really root of it as to like why you can package things like that, to be frank, and this was one short answer to all of that. Why people buy ground beef, ground chuck, everything kind of like already in like that form. Exactly. You're paying for the convenience of it, versus let me go buy fucking, chicken heads and thighs and assholes and just put that all together into a fucking meat grinder. And all of a sudden it shoots on out where it's more natural. Like it is a labor of love. Like you have to like enjoy it. And I mean, and also,
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just, on that point, is like, I mean, depending upon how, if you can do it correctly, you could actually save $1 if you were to actually do that yourself. Like, think about it. And again, like, depending upon the sales.
This
like
is the third week in a row that we're home that I'm doing it. 3 weeks in a row. And like I made them like a couple week or two, a couple weeks prior to that. But like as soon as I got the meat grinder, the thing that sold me on it was the fucking chicken nuggets, man.
Yeah.
Because like, sausage is great. And you can do like, I made meatballs out of them. The best fucking meatballs I ever did, man. I had like a pork, I did my own ground pork. I bought a pork butt, and then I had like a chuck roast. I ground them both up and I made my own blend, and they were literally the best meatballs I ever made. But you know what came of it? Because it was fucking failed sausage. I failed at making my first round of sausage. I think I was telling you at some point.
No way.
Dude, I didn't read the instructions. And like, when the meat grinder comes with like several pieces, right? Obviously there's a corkscrew. You push it down and the corkscrew pushes it through. And then there's a blade, and then there's different attachments that will push it through like a die, if you will, with little holes of different sizes to make it different consistencies, right? So after you grind it once, you're supposed to just take the blade and the piece out, and then you put the sausage attachment on, because sausage is not finely ground, right? You bite into a piece of sausage, like, you feel the meat and the fat and the ingredients, right? Mine was like, it looked like, it looked like baby shit, dude. Like with like a load of like lettuce and everything.
Baby shit.
It was so smooth in like a tube. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. And it tasted good, but it tasted like a meatball, not sausage. I said, I'm not going to make the sausage anymore. I'm going to make meatballs. And I ended up like adding beef to it, not just pork, like I was telling you. And then it already had some like provolone and broccoli rabe. I found broccoli rabe, thanks to my friend Enzo out here. And we made it like that, dude. I gotta tell you, it was like the tits. It was tits.
You know what I want you to do? Well, next time you ground up a chicken or a beef, whatever, I really want you to actually weigh out exactly how much you're getting out of that. And next time you go to the store, just look at what they give to you, like a pound of ground round, whether it's like beef or chicken or whatever it is. You just literally like this could actually like, people think like, oh, the work that kind of goes into it. But like, if you think about it, it's just actually stretch your food bill. Like, and it's just a matter of like how
I can tell you right now, I don't even need to make it up. Right now, I have 4 pound, I think it's 3 pounds of chicken. Actually, you know what, dude? Give me 1 fucking second. We'll edit this out. Hey, what's up? Hey, buddy. I love you. Okay. Yeah, I was right. I have like 4 pounds of chicken and breast in the fridge right now. And I got it 2 for 1. So I have like the, cage free, fucking $8, $9, $10 a pound chicken, right? But I got to buy one, get one free. So for $18, I got all this chicken, all the spices that go into it to make it like a quote unquote chicken nugget are onion powder, garlic powder, a little cornstarch, a little bit of flour, and paprika. If your kids are freaking out about paprika, like my son doesn't like the red specks, I don't put it in. Like it doesn't really work. So like I don't
Mm-hmm.
add that in. And then, I think I may be forgetting one thing, and probably not. And black pepper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said that, right? So yeah, you add all that in, and then you do like a really quick egg wash. So, or like, you dip them in the egg like you were making a chicken cutlet, dude. Like they're like mini chicken cutlets. And then you get the breadcrumbs out, and you can do panko. Panko is kind of fun. Like I think it makes it more like restaurant style. But I was using the fucking Italian ones, and that's where I was like, dude, this is literally like a mini chicken cutlet. And that's where I got the idea to make just the big chicken cutlet, which I'm gonna try soon. So, yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's I would say that beside the vegetable oil that I use, like when I fry them and don't air fry them, which I've done air frying too, it's also pretty good. You can do let's see, I want to say with that 4 pounds of chicken, close to 60 chicken nuggets.
No shit.
Yeah, it's like and it's really easy to make them too big when you make, because it's almost like you're trying to make a little meatball. But you got to realize that when you go to like the restaurant or like the Tyson chicken nuggets, the Dino nuggets, which are were the ones that we've retired now from buying, um, that's probably like a tablespoon or less. It's probably about a tablespoon of ground chicken. So it's like super small. I'm making them more like the size of this mouse,
Shit.
like a silver dollar, dude. So they look more like a cutlet. But yeah, I would recommend it, bro. And the one that I got is not a KitchenAid or Cuisinart, KitchenAid brand. So you can definitely find it on Amazon that just attaches to for like $40. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely on my radar to get one of those for Christmas or at least for a holiday. You get some on my radar. You have to get a fucking slicer. So again, that's really valuable. But like, if you really think about a next gift to get your if anyone listening to this for your significant other, sushi kits. So I got my wife a sushi kit to actually make your own sushi, and also a dumpling kit where it's just automatically does all the work for you. So if you're versus, again, extending out your dollar for your food bill,
I want a dumpling kit.
it literally gives you the dumpling kit where literally it doesn't just like here's like your rolls and like roll together. No, it automatically like folds it for you. Click a button and then it's just like shoot. I swear when we bought it, we cranked out over 100 fucking dumplings. We didn't know what to fucking do with them because we underestimated.
So what did you do like with the pork? So and what did you how did you make the bun or like the rice? Is it just rice paper or what did you do?
You can do rice paper or whatever your preferences are, but the machine is designed so that way, rather than having to hand cut everything yourself or trying to like wonder like, did I put in too much or too little? It literally put it in the middle of this device, click a button, it just starts cranking out fucking dumplings. That way you can kind of like on the speedy system.
It's
so that
automatic.
It's automatically. So if you're looking for a next gift for your significant other, I would recommend the sushi making kit and the dumpling kit. But
let me ask, so like where do you source? Because like you got to get sushi grade fish. So like where do you go for that? Like you have like an Erewhon by you, or like where are you buying your bluefin tuna, bro? Where you getting
just if you have a fish market, that's one. Or there are sometimes I just put a knife in my fucking mouth like Aquaman, jump into the fucking ocean and start harpooning those fuckers and bring it back.
Clamming. He's going shucking.
I'm going clamming. Yeah, I'm going chucking. But if you have a fish market near you, you can do that. Or again, you can give up Costco a call and just ask like, what do they have on ice today? And just like kind of like buy it a la carte.
Yeah, but do they have that quality to eat raw? I thought that it had to be like a special quality.
I mean,
unless you're just buying salmon and tuna, right? Like
salmon, tilapia, tuna. Like if that's your
tilapia, so I'm not eating. I would never eat tilapia sushi.
No,
you eat tilapia sushi? What the fuck roll is that?
No, I'm just saying
the bottom of the fucking Hudson River or some shit.
Listen, if one was inclined, you can go buy if you want to make it. Yeah,
if one was starving in the woods and didn't have a match to light a fire and cook a tilapia, sure, yeah, eat that fucker. Yeah, but like don't wrap it in seaweed and with rice and then sprinkle some fucking caviar on it and call it
hey,
sushi.
listen, here's the thing, man. Like with sushi, let's be serious. Like when did spicy tuna rolls become a thing? Or when did like that, creative,
to me,
it's a weird,
college.
that's not traditional sushi. That's just like an Americanized way of sushi that people got really hip to because it was a different take on sushi. So like if they're doing shit like that, why wouldn't you want to maybe put tilapia, let's say in a fucking...
I was turned on to carpaccio recently.
Carpaccio.
Do you know what carpaccio is? It's basically just sushi without the rice. After some selective editing here, the difference between crudo sashimi, well, after some quick editing here, the difference between crudo, sashimi, tartare, and carpaccio is pretty straightforward here. Carpaccio is basically a special type of crudo because crudo is a very generalized Italian and Spanish word for raw. So like any type of raw fish is going to be a crudo. Carpaccio is more specific, and it's sliced very, very, very or thin or pounded very thin. But yeah, like that's an interesting one. And then there's tartare, which can be meat or seafood, right?
Yeah.
And that's chopped up with salt.
I've had tartare, and when I was in Dominican Republic, I'm not a fan of it. Like, it's just like
I've had it a couple times and not liked it.
It's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I'd say the same because like the last time I had it, like it was a beef tartare and it was very good. And like I only had maybe a spoonful of it, but it was very, very, very tasty. And then I think like sushi. I mean, there's so many different types of raw fish in this, but like sushi is let's see,
it's raw fish with the rice on top.
Yeah, it's like not in the crudo category because it's just sashimi. So yeah, crudo category different. Wow, raw preparation is not the crudo category. Yeah, sashimi is not crudo. It's made with carefully sliced raw fish that's rarely marinated or sauced. And like I guess like the carpaccios and the other types are marinated and sauced. So that's interesting. Like, so have you made like what have you made? Like, what kind of are you eating rolls at home or are you making like the
both? No, it's mainly for rolls, honestly. Like the kid is made for the rolls. So because like sushi is literally like you just slice up the fish you want, put it over a bed of fucking rice, and there you go. This is literally for roll making and anything like rice related where you're packing that in, because it comes with like they have the gun, which again, take your poison, but like we were typically like there's like a gun where like you literally stack your rice and fish inside this little gun and you can just press it out where it comes out as a perfect cylinder of like sushi, and you cut it and
spits out the sushi right there.
Pretty much, yeah. Like exactly. To be very candid about it, or you can actually use it with the bamboo that gives you, and you can literally put your bed of rice on the bamboo and roll it on there.
That's how they do it in the restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, it is like a quiet because we tried doing it like to the best of our ability, but it just was not coming out the way that we had anticipated. And it's just like anything else. You got to have been doing it for so long to get the muscle memory down or the right technique, if you will, of your fingers.
Like good sushi, like a fish to make that amount of sushi is probably going to cost you like what, $30-$40, right?
Probably. Yeah.
So you go near us in LA, there's a place called Midori. All you can eat is like $40. Or like for lunch and $50.
So I think, so here's the thing, man. So I think we talked about this one of our other episodes. So like the all you can eat sushi is actually, you're actually paying more than what you're probably going to be able to eat. And the reason being is because everything that comes out. Well, let me ask you this question. Was this one of the all you can eat sushi places that they literally bring it to you like via a la carte, or is it like a belt that goes around and you pick off what you want?
No. This is the one where you fill out the paper and then they bring back whatever you're looking
for. So here's the thing. Like you gotta be mindful. Like when you go to an all you can eat sushi, I highly recommend anyone doing this is to like go in there with a fucking empty stomach, because typical all you can eat sushi joints are going to run you roughly around like $50 a head, anywhere to like $90 a head, because you're paying for fish, right? Yes. Like,
we don't do that here. It's like $50 is the place we go,
give or take. But the point is like these places know that the average person, like if you had, let's say 3 dishes come to you, you're probably going to eat less than what that meal's worth, because what they're basically doing is everything that comes out is through rice. The rice is what fills you up. So the next time you go to an all-you-can-eat sushi place, look how many times just the raw fish comes out versus it being packed in rice. And I'm saying is like you should go in there pacing yourself. Like don't try and like huff it in like 30 seconds, because it's very tempting to do that. I've done it many times, but rather sit there and actually plot out. Let's say in the first 5 minutes, I'm gonna digest, let's say 4 pieces. I'm gonna sit for another 10 minutes and digest another 5 more pieces later.
And get really scientific with this.
I'm serious, because when I went to an all-you-can-eat sushi last time, we walked in there at, let's say, 1:00 for lunch, and we saw other people coming in, and we saw people come in just as fast as they left just as fast as they came in. We were sitting there for 2 extra more hours. just
Well,
sitting and
you're
eating it.
not the average citizen. They see you walk in and like they tremble with fear. Like they're like, all right, we're gonna be losing money today, boys.
Like
But
Homer
like
Simpson.
that, right? That's not the like my philosophy, because like when we go, if you go a la carte to a sushi place in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles, each roll that you'd get, like, or like plate of a la carte sushi is going to cost you between 15 and 20 bucks, right? It's going to be like, maybe you know, you were talking about the spicy tuna roll. Maybe that's like, or Philadelphia might be like $12.99, right? But then you're going to go like the better ones, which I'm not even going to try to name because they're differently, you know, named differently everywhere. Like those more complex rolls are going to be like closer to like $20, bro, like 17, $18 near me. Now, the carpaccio, which is and the different types of like sashimi that are raw and like scallops, I love, and oysters, right? That kind of stuff is not served with rice. So we always start off with like the top of the menu and get all the things that are like limit 2 per guest. Like we get our 2 of everything raw and like rice free. Like edamame we'll get, maybe we'll do like, I always, and Jody and I always get the shishito peppers. I love those roasted peppers. You always get like one spicy one. But then we move on to like the rolls at the end, because like we want to get filled up on like that stuff that we know, like to your point, is going to like maximize the value of it. But it's also like the best stuff on the menu. And it's, if you order like 4 things, you've already made your money, because edamame is going to be like $6 or $7. You know, the like, oh, the best thing that we have out here, and I'm sure you guys have this too, is like the spicy, like the crispy rice nuggets with the spicy tuna on top. Oh my God, bro. If you haven't had this, I have to send you
No,
a link.
man, that's new. It
Is so fucking good.
Yeah, would
You
want to
take,
make out with it?
yeah, excuse me. You take
I got
rice.
excited, folks.
Yeah, you fry up a little rectangle of rice, and then they put the spicy tuna, or I've had it with crab now, on top, and then they put some spicy mayo, and like it's a good little appetizer. So, you know, those little things like those, yeah, if you just huff those, or like if you get like too much of the what is, I'm not gonna forget the name now, the fried stuff. What do you call the fried stuff that's fried in the egg white?
You lost me.
You know, like it's like you dip it in the egg white batter, like the fried food, tempura. Yeah.
Tempura. Okay.
Yeah, tempura. So yeah, so like no, if you fill up on the things like tempura, if you're ordering 5 or 6 orders of that, or you know, huffing down all the fried rice and, you know, different treats up front, yeah, sure. But start off with like those raw fish things first, and then just top off, like almost treat your rolls as a dessert. Like I like the baked ones with the scallops.
Yeah. Oh man. So like next time I do that, I'm gonna eat some of that when I think I watch a Netflix series. I actually was looking at a Netflix series just recently and I wanted to check it out. I think it's called, give me a second. I was reading about it about a dude who's a bartender and some crazy person is trying to like hook up with this guy. It's like it's a real story
The
about
reindeer thing. The reindeer.
the reindeer baby. Yeah, I want to check that
Reindeer
out.
baby. I want
Yeah.
to watch that too, man. That's on my list
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
And what I was going to turn you on to is something I think that you would like get into, or like maybe not love right away, is Resident Alien.
Are they taking Resident Evil
Sure.
and aliens together and trying to put them into one thing? What a lawsuit that is, man.
No, this is where like an alien crash lands on Earth, because he's here to like destroy Earth, but he ends up crashing, and he has to like fix his ship before he can destroy Earth and leave. Crashing, taking over the body of another human, and like has to like assimilate into this town so they don't find him out. But it's such a commentary. Like, one, it's fucking hysterical, and like they, you know, it's cursing. It's from sci-fi, but they curse. It's like all over the place, but it's very social commentary, like third person looking down on Earth and talking about how humanity is. And, you know, you mentioned like kind of where this jumped me off was where, you know, humans can live a plant-based diet, and it's healthier and
It's
more
very
sustainable.
true. Like we again,
Right. So like I'm all for it, man. I think like I try to make sure my kids understand that like you have to eat well balanced. I don't force them to eat like steak and meat and all that kind of stuff. Like if they opt for vegetables and, you know, other alternatives, like I'm not going to say, no, you eat this ham sandwich, not this peanut butter sandwich. You know, like obviously like they eat both, but you know, I'll give them that choice more often than not. So
yeah. But that being said, since we're on Netflix somehow, I don't know, we blended it in. Did you ever get a chance to start and finish that series I recommended, Alice in Borderland?
No, I never started it, and I don't feel like I'm going to. I'm
Fuck
gonna
you.
I want to watch Fallout now. I'm gonna watch Three Body Problems. So there's a lot to catch up on, but like Alice in Borderlands, I feel like I will be on my list if I ever.
No, that's gotta be on your first list, man, because you're gonna see that you get sucked into that show. I am telling you, please put that at number one. I'm telling you, this was Squid Games before Squid Games became a thing.
All right,
And I
I'll
just
give the
rather
first episode a shot, and I'll let
you
you
gotta
know
watch
my.
the first 4 episodes.
Oh,
Yes, they're quick.
okay.
They're
So
quick.
not
They're
no
quick.
small commitment.
Listen, they're quick and snappy. Listen, if you got time during a lunch break or pre or post drop off the kids, trust me. I guarantee you after episode 4, you're gonna want to be like immediately on episode 15 in the second season. I'm telling you, like you will not be disappointed.
All right, I'll give it a shot, man. I'll put it on, whatever. And that's probably a good place for us to put a pin in, this first comeback episode. And we will do our little Netflix rendezvous, Anthony, and we'll get back to you guys with some NFL draft recap. Anthony was on the streets of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, interviewing all of the Steelers fans about the Giants draft picks. So that
Yes,
was
pretty
I get to hear
much.
about that.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Very interesting times in Pittsburgh, PA.
Sounds good, man. All right, everybody. We'll be back at you with another episode of Bigger and Louder. Thanks for sticking with us. Love you.
Later.